Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and thank you for joining another scene for Living World of Darkness Changeling venue. Tonight we start with Caldwell at his tea shop, Ritual Tea, which is located in Queens. It's a relatively quiet night. Everything is kind of winding down. There are a few customers left, a couple of which Caldwell escorts to the door as he kind of waves them off, as they're more or likely regulars by now. People that usually hang around the tea shops are usually come, once or twice a week. So he knows them on a first name basis now, and just kind of plays up the whole etiquette and sees them off, wishes them a good night, and hopes they come back soon, and checks around the tea shop there and just kind of tidying up where he needs to tidy up, picking up dishes, setting furniture back, and then attending to whatever customers that may be lingering, probably in the corners, maybe reading a book, or maybe even sometimes napping. He has caught one or two people napping. Um, so by that, he most likely, after tidying up, comes out from the kitchen, um, and most likely turns on some music, some soft music, and it is behind the counter at the front, preparing um, tea to kind of sell on the side that customers can take with them. It's all loose leaf tea. It's kind of bagged up in little, like little tiny tea bags, and he even kind of like sets up like little steepers and stuff like that, all of various different sizes, shapes, of animals, stars, and the like. For little kids as well. They're typically really good customers. So they're a lot of fun to mess with too. But yeah, he's basically just kind of listening to music and sitting behind the front counter.
Alice will knock on the glass door.
Yeah. Once he hears that somebody is knocking on the glass door and not just kind of coming in, he kind of furrows his brow a bit, but excuse me, gets up quietly and goes to open the door and kind of just poke his head out to see.
Alice is standing there. She's in a uh, brilliant white and fluffy dress, stops about upper thigh, with heavy crinoline layers and giving her a cream puff style look. Small purses over one shoulder. She has what looks to be like TV level makeup on, and her hair is currently done up into a series of pigtails.
Hmm. Caldwell looks her over and eyes, all the details of her attire and her makeup, and just says in his soft, well, his whisper, quiet tone, "Ah, good evening, Alice. It's good to see you. I like the regalia you have on this evening. Rather puffy and creamy."
Uh, Thanks, Caldwell. I just got back from rehearsal. Mind if I come in?
No, no, please come in. And he will open the door for you, kind of opened his hand out, kind of like showing you in, and will close the door behind him. No matter how he closes it, it squeaks and squeals, almost like it's being tortured to death. It's just one of the things with the door, no matter how much he oils it or whatever. But to him secretly, it's delectable. He loves it. And yeah, and he will lead her over to the counter where you can see that he has been working. Probably he seems to be in the thick of it. It's not really a lot per se to what he's doing, but it's definitely work there that's been done. And he just holds out his hand to a seat and just says, "You mind having a seat?"
She'll nod, clacking on her way in on her heels. Uh, Before she takes a seat, though, she will actually take a moment to uh, bend down and unstrap them stepping out of them before taking her seat and leaving them by the booth entrance.
He simply just cracks a small, simple smile at that. He knows it's, their tradition. He doesn't seem to mind that whatsoever. He'd rather her be herself and be comfortable. And same with anybody else that came in. If they have similar certain traditions they follow, he certainly doesn't seem to mind. But when she sits, he just kind of leans on the counter with both his hands, like over what he's been working on, and he offers, "Can I get you anything to drink?"
Um, Not now, but we're probably going to need something a little lightning later.
Lightning is, you mean, as far as you mean alcohol, perhaps?
No, more like uplifting.
Hmm. Gotcha. I have just a thing. I'll get it prepared. So what brings you by this evening? How have you been?
Busy. Rehearsals, she says, motioning herself top to bottom. Uh, Investigations and lots of planning.
Hmm. Interesting. How was the deal with Queens going? I noticed you've been here a lot more lately. Is that regarding
It's
your
a
costume?
major punishment.
Hmm. And how are you faring with that?
Stress, busy, and frankly overloaded.
Hmm. Sorry to hear that. Is there anything I can do to help you, perhaps?
There's a lot you could do to help, uh, which is mostly why I'm here.
And he kind of just stops what he's doing, like his back's to you because he's like filling up like water and stuff like that in the teapot and stuff, and he just kind of stops, kind of like turns his head for a second. Once she says that, and then just continues going on about his business, and he continues. Hmm. Well, whatever I can do to help alleviate your burdens, I would definitely like to assist. After all, you have done much for me.
Step one, she says, setting her purse down on the table and pulling something out.
Oh, a bulleted list. I like this.
How much do you know about freehold creation?
I know that you need to put the balefire in a secure location. I know you need a certain amount of dross or glamour to get it started.
And what about trods after it's created?
Um, and he kind of just lifts his head, his eyes kind of like rolling up to the ceiling, as if trying to search for an answer, like a tree, like a fruit on a tree or something to pick it. But he just says, "I apologize. I don't know. It's about as much as I know."
How much do you know about trods? I know that you've been looking into a lot of them lately.
I know they connect to various places here and there. A lot of them go undiscovered, and a lot of them are overrun. much like Lady Desiree's, and we had to help, clean that up. But other than that, my knowledge is probably lacking compared to yours.
I was afraid of that. Uh, Not a lot of research in the meantime.
Well, I don't know. Ever since I got here, it's been crazy. And I was kept really busy back home, back in England. Basically, kind of kept away, so to speak. Um, and ever since I got here with the nightmares going on, it's been rather hard. And I don't know, like something's been eating at me lately, and I just can't shake it.
You should go by Vanessa's place more often.
Yes, I've been meaning to get over there. I really do need to get over there. I don't know, I think it's just been kind of depressed, to be honest with you. These nightmares are just really something else. Are you knowledgeable on dreams?
Dreams? I wish. You know what my specialization is?
He just smiles. Yeah, being awesome. And he almost says that rather reverently, like kind of like somebody like glossing over the memories of like really cool moments in a book or something like that. Like that's how he kind of comes. That's how it comes off from him.
As sweet as I am, dreams will never be something that I am as much the master of. You, on the other hand, that would be, I believe, quite the accomplishment. Maybe even put one of those uh, uh, roosters in your hat.
Think you mean a feather in my cap? It's usually what that means. He kind of chuckles, like, you know, a rather great accomplishment. You put a feather in your cap, not a rooster deer. But,
That makes a little bit more sense.
I mean, it'll be rather hard putting a whole chicken on your head and keeping it there. But a feather is easy enough. And I don't know, yeah, sure, I believe it could be a great feat for me, perhaps, but I don't know. I know Puck is working on something in that matter.
Has, well, have you had the opportunity to go to the um, Brooklyn Freehold at all?
Yeah, I go there all the time. That's how I've been dealing with these nightmares whenever they offer, or if I really do need it, and I reach out to Misha. She's more than happy to accommodate me at her freehold. Both her and William have been very accommodating. It's rather it's appreciative, but it's almost rather unsettling. I'm not used to it.
Well, if you ever come to Manhattan, I mean, I guarantee there's going to be hospitality. I can't guarantee cookies, though.
They would have to be soft cookies, and I would prefer them to be rather stale or on the old side.
Have they told you about the Baku?
No, I know there's some issues between Mara and Baku, where Mara is definitely much more in control due to being given gifts by, I believe, somebody from the Ranters, if I have my story correct.
More
And
to it than that.
uh,
We kind of destroyed the gifts that Baku had been given long ago when remember that anti-magic field we created?
he turns his head and just kind of like narrows one eye, like trying to remember. I don't know. Are you talking about here in New York?
I wasn't sure if he had been told. So when we raided the Ranter base, we found Baku chained in the basement, laboring under a powerful curse, which I was able to remove.
Mm-hmm.
Legendary curses. I am a legend. But um, the anti magic field that had been used as a primary part of the strategy destroyed the gifts that Baku had, thus creating this unbalance.
Wow. All that effort to trying to save yourselves from this group and only to create so much harm as well with unforeseen consequences. Hmm. I'm sure you probably feel ways about that. I know I would, and to some degree, maybe even a lot of the degree. So what are we doing to correct that?
Oh, first, I apologized to my mom, and I went back to being a Shinto.
You had to apologize?
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't believe any of it was real, and then I met a god.
Hmm, fair enough. That makes sense. I guess I'm not as learned on the Japanese, what's the word? It's on the tip of my slow tongue. Either way, it doesn't matter. But I understand. I get where you're going. Pantheon, that's the word. He kind of just rolls his eyes and gives a soft smile. But yeah, I can imagine coming toe to toe with a god and it kind of realizing, hitting you in the face would have that effect.
Mm-hmm.
So you apologized to your mother, you went back to Shinto, and here we are.
Well, I mean, that's part of what I'm doing to fix as much as I can. I mean, clearly, I wasn't praying to non existent beings, so my mom was probably right about other things. And then, uh, more proactively, Sir Kararis is gathering up individuals to bring them together, and then we're going to give Baku gifts to make up for the ones that were lost.
Mm, like, what kind of gifts?
They have to be gifts from the heart. 4 gifts, not sacrifices, that mean something to us. Each gift will change Baku's nature to a degree, but
Hmm.
That's why it's important that very specific people are chosen, and they also have to be sorcerers, masters of an art.
I see. Well, that certainly counts me out. I've not mastered any kind of art. A long way from it as well. At least I would assume.
Doesn't mean you can't help. There's always something you could do.
Hmm. Something tells me you might have something in mind.
Not at all. Just you should talk to Sir Carraris.
Hmm.
Sir Carraris has ideas.
Maybe I will. I haven't seen him since we first talked about, well, since the concert actually. So yeah, I guess I'll reach out to him and see what I can do. I would like to aid you all, or at least aid in restoring the balance to the dreaming, anyways. At least I wouldn't feel so guilty.
Guilty about what?
Maybe not putting as much as I could into this as, yeah, at least it seems like everybody else is really putting much into this, and I haven't really put much at all. I guess if I want to save myself from guilt or self-incrimination, I need to do my best.
Is that your dream?
Hmm. It's a very good question. Maybe not wholly, but it would certainly help things. Maybe it would help my demeanor and how I feel. Maybe I wouldn't feel so scared.
Why don't you want to feel scared or frightened?
It's not that I don't want to per se, but it's more like the fear of finality, of death.
Oh, yeah, we're all going to die. I mean, like, that's an inevitable truth. And if you're Buddhist, you believe that other people will come back and be reincarnated. I mean, isn't that what happens to us?
I mean, as far as I know. But that's what I mean with these nightmares. I guess it would explain if I gave you a little bit of an insight to what I mean.
She holds up a finger. What if I gave you something?
It's like something to do.
No, I mean, it's weird to say, but I don't believe anyone should stop ever being afraid.
Hmm.
Fear is what drives us. Fear is what gives us contrast. If you're not afraid, then you can't be courageous. And the greater the more courage you can have. I'm terrified whenever I go out. Whenever I'm fighting nightmares in Nervosa, closing up dark trods, or even just facing my barony. I'm my stomach is nothing but butterflies on stage. But that fear is what sends me soaring to new heights.
I mean, That's what slow are about. They're about using fear for change, for good change. And while I wholeheartedly agree with you, there's still this sinking feeling at the center of my chest. Like I feel like I'm missing a tether. That's what I mean. Like this dream I had, right? Like it started out with me in the woods of Russia, okay? And it progressed through many different lives that apparently I might have lived, at least from what I can understand of and what I've read to kind of piece this all together. And at a certain point, me and other Slua were out in the middle of the woods, bearing the cold, shivering, freezing, and we all had these tethers stuck on our back, but we had nothing leading from our chest going forward. But the other kith did, and as the years went on, we slowly died, or at least we never came back. As I progressed through these lives, I've always ended up back at the same point, and there was just less of us each time until I was the only one, alone and afraid, until the darkness came over me as well. And then there was nothing. I want to be courageous, Alice. I want to be a hero, but I want to keep continuing to do it. And I don't know if this dream is just really messing with my mind or it's telling me something. I don't know. I just can't shake it. And I just don't know if I can take that chance.
Do you consider yourself responsible?
I try to be.
Do you accept responsibility for your actions?
Um, Most of the time, 99% of the time, maybe. Maybe a little less, maybe.
You're afraid of failing, and yet you're afraid of failing. I mean, don't get much more human than that, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I am, truth be told, still not very comfortable being a changeling. A lot of things I'm experiencing are still new, and at least they feel new. And I'm still trying to piece everything together. Like what am I doing here? Like what's my purpose? Like
You don't have a purpose.
I mean, don't we all?
Well, technically,
I mean, that's why the dream made our soul, correct? The dreaming made our soul. Excuse me.
um, Are you a Christian?
I don't really follow religion at all.
Hmm. All right. Well, do you know what Shinto is?
You believe in the kami?
Um. Wow. Okay. I think it's easier to say we believe there are kami than we believe in the kami.
That there is not any. Just to clarify.
No, that we believe they exist, that there's a kami of or in everything,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't believe in them.
Got you.
I mean, who wants to worship a disease spirit coming to eat your soul?
I guess that makes sense.
You proprietate them, you keep them at bay. Sometimes you bind them into things. Even the kami have bound other kami into things.
That seems rather unfortunate. But I understand. I apologize for interrupting.
You can be a Shintoist, a Christian, a Buddhist, all at the same time. So
Hmm.
what does that mean? Nothing. You choose which path you're going to follow, which religion you want to believe in, or none of them. There are there are some who say there's like 8 million kami. There's no way you could know them all, worship them all, or proprietate them all. You kind of pick and choose as you go.
They're
Life is the
basically.
same way.
Hmm.
Sure, everything has a proper place, but that doesn't mean you have a proper destiny, purpose. Now, your place might be to be the example to everyone of what not to do when riding down a street on a bicycle when a car hits you. That was your place. You might say it was a purpose, but what about everything else that you did in your life? Those were your choices then. So who cares what your purpose is? What matters is what you do until your purpose is met. You're not going to have a choice. If your purpose is to die alone in the darkness, as an example to everyone of the folly of living, then it's going to happen. But everything else in your life, every other decision, every other thing you do, every other change you make on the world, that's yours.
And I appreciate that, Alice. I really do. And that's pretty much what I'm doing now, is it not? I want to help. I want to create hope for everybody again and ease everybody's issues, or at least have some part in it regarding this issue with Baku and Mara. And if I get struck by a car tomorrow, I guess that's just it. But I don't want it to happen still.
No, but as I said before, if that's your purpose, then it'll come to pass on its own. If your purpose is not to be an example of that, then that too will come to pass. No reason to fear it. And in the meantime, you said you do want to go talk to Sir Carraris. So he should be able to give you all sorts of information that'll help.
Hmm.
Or at the very least, find a way to incorporate your skills into what we need to get this done. Because we're going to have to go on a journey deep into the dreaming. You want to be a hero? That would be your chance.
You have to go deep into the dreaming to give gifts.
Deep into the dreaming. Deep, deep, deep. Some might call it, the deep dreaming.
He just closes his eyes and just smiles at you like just being so fucking patronizing. But yeah. Hmm. Fair enough. I guess it makes sense. I mean, Baku is basically a dreaming god, so
Not basically.
excuse me, yes.
If there's anything that I've ever seen in a dreaming that comes close to a god, there every definition I have for the word god in English, Baku and Mara both meet.
That's fair.
Up to and including the part where they could just smite you.
Yeah, that would be rather inconvenient. I will make sure I don't do that or say something like that again.
No, it's fine. I don't know. I'm a little bit more cautious now ever since I realized my religion's real. I asked if you were a Christian because if it turned out you were, I was going to compare it to meeting Jesus Christ.
Hmm. Well, truth be told, if that's the case, then basically I would guess Mara would be the closest figure to hmm, a parental figure, at least as far as I understand.
Hmm.
Dream or Slew come from nightmares, so
I don't know. I think there's some otaku in Japan who would find Slua to be the most pleasant of dreams.
maybe I would like to meet somebody like that and see what they have to really say.
I listen to death metal. So you met one.
Hmm. Well, that's just because you use fear as you do, as you told me. And not everybody believes in that.
Their loss.
Indeed.
I always thought the reason that Slua whispered is so that they could tell the fools from the wise ones, the ones who are willing to listen.
No. No, 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 no. We lost our true voice because we messed up. We were punished, and we're still punished today. Tuatha himself slew our voices.
So I'll admit I'm not a Westerner, but that sounds way too depressing. It
Have
sounds
you?
exactly like what a Slua would say if it wasn't true either. If in reality you all were just pulling some sort of uh, quick one on us. And you really could talk very loudly, but you choose not to. Testing us. I'm on to you, she says, leaning across the table slightly.
Hmm. Oh yes, you got me. You really got me. I'm just testing you. I appreciate you trying to alleviate some of my mm, discomforts. I really do appreciate the effort. Thank you, Alice.
My only goal is to make sure everyone's wish comes true, which, in your case, also includes us discussing your new uniform.
Oh no, you got it already. She's finished
Not
with it.
not yet, not yet.
Oh.
But
Mhm.
once we get you ready with it, hopefully soon, you will be able to take the fight to nightmares themselves.
I certainly hope so. It'll be a good learning experience. I know if I'm successful, it'll definitely help bring up my confidence. I can definitely use a win in that department.
And because I know you've been worried about dying, I was thinking that we could do something other than shadows and darkness as a benefit.
Hmm.
What
What do
if
you
it could
mean?
heal you from even the most grievous of injuries?
It just, that's a lot to take in, you know. I, I really do like you, Alice. Like, I enjoy being around you. You seem to just kind of lighten everything around you. I really do, and you're just a people person. Like, I admire that about you. Almost even really find myself being jealous of it. And I look up to you in a lot of ways. It's just a lot, you know, without just giving something back, or it's just really generous. I just don't know how to just not be, just I just it's just really hard to shut up and just accept it. He just admits saying, like, trying to stop being so trying to be eloquent, or you know generous about it, polite about it, excuse me.
Just be happy. Whatever whatever makes you happy, that's all that I care about. Making others happy, ensuring others can achieve their dreams.
Hmm.
My dream was always to help others. And my first treasure was brought to life not by some knocker or even some manifestation of the dreaming that I had the quest for. It was brought to me by the friendship of my own, by the anime club I'm part of. My close friends, their dreams, their hopes, gave me a chance to do what I do now. And if I could imbue or impart a little bit of one of the things that you're jealous about is my fearlessness. Well, what makes me so fearless is, I mean, she takes, she um, looks over at him and then proceeds to punch the table hard. Ah, shows you her hand, which is now covered in abrasions and bruises.
What? What are you doing?
And you watch as it slowly heals in front of your eyes.
So that's healing you now?
Not my treasure, but whatever dreams I'm made of. And we could do something to make sure you could do the same. Wouldn't that help?
I mean, pragmatically speaking, yes.
I will not argue that it doesn't hurt. She's just looking at her hand.
I mean, you definitely look like it hurt a little bit, at least.
No, no, it hurt a lot because your tables are like really solid.
I mean, they're old wood, like really, really old, thick wood.
Oh,
Yeah. So
they're actual wood. Well, I'm feeling a little foolish now. She says,
mm, it's okay. It's
but
not nothing that can't be replaced. But I understand. Yeah. I mean, yeah, something like that would definitely help and make me feel much more open to being, more forthright, forthwith with my activity as far as being out in the field or helping you fight.
and the fact that it'll change your appearance. No worries, they'll get back to you or Count Leon, and Count Leon will be like, "Oh no, what have you done? I'm banishing you to the Bronx," because he won't even know it's you. That's one
Mhm.
thing I can't get around. Everyone's going to notice me if I walk into a room.
Yeah. Have you how has that been with since the concert as far as your celebrity goes?
My manager no longer lets me wear pants. She says, motioning at herself.
His brow just furrows. Why?
Because I took a sabbatical to Queens as some sort of eccentric singer. And so, well, we have to keep up the appearances like I'm doing some sort of filming or something to keep my fame going. Otherwise, everyone's going to be like, oh, she can't handle it or had a meltdown or something. And we
Hmm.
see what I mean?
Is your manager one of us?
Nope.
They seem like one of us. You
If
sure
my
they're not
manager
people?
was one of us, I would be never able to get rid of this. I'd be wearing, I don't know, some sort of chimerical dress everywhere.
Maybe they just value discretion. I don't know. It just seemed amusing as all.
It is amusing. Um, when you get to sit across the table, she says, looking at him. Want to switch outfits?
Hmm. It looks rather uncomfortable.
I thought not, she said with a wink. I have another concert coming up. It's not going to be nearly as riotous.
Sure, I'll come and support you. Truth be told, is not my kind of music. I did like the more heavier stuff you did.
Well, I get to experiment a little bit. However, there is one other reason I'm asking you to come.
Uh, I hope it's not to make some kind of appearance.
No, no, no.
Oh, okay.
Uh, backstage security.
Security. I I got bucked over by a giant seahorse and practically lost your sword until I was able to retrieve it like several days later. I don't know if I could. He seems rather nervous because now he's like rubbing, like he's doing like that whole nervous like neck rub, like you know.
But you have a good ear.
I do.
It's not always about fighting. It's sometimes about being able to notice something before William or Hall, the people I've hired for
They're going to be
physical
there.
security.
Are they going to be there?
Well, I haven't had a chance to talk to Hall yet, but I know William will be. William agreed.
Hmm. He just nods quietly. Then yeah, definitely I can. I'll help out.
Great. That's a relief.
If you don't mind, I'd like to maybe spend the night in Manhattan in the Freehold. That way I make
Do you
sure
have a
I'm.
car?
Yeah, it's a little thing, but it'll get me there.
Mind giving me a ride?
Sure.
Great. I'll try not to take up your whole entire car, she says, doing a hand gesture around herself.
Yeah, and for expedience sake, we'll just say he kind of closes up shop and goes out to the alleyway. And it's rather dark in this alley, but he doesn't seem to mind that at all. Like it seems like he could just navigate like rather simply. It's almost kind of crazy. You would think that a normal person wouldn't be able to do it that easily, but he doesn't seem to have a problem. Um, and
Alice conversely cheats when she goes into the alleyway. The first thing she does is she glows.
yeah, but he has basically like a small little Euro car. It's nothing. It's nothing like new or anything. Um, but it's definitely European in nature or in make and model, and compact. He almost seems like he's a little too big for it because he's rather tall. But it's just like perfect. Like it's just enough room. But yeah, um, he'll definitely make sure that she gets in first with all of her belongings, and especially her poofy dress has um taken care of, specifically. And once they're kind of settled and he's settled in the car, like he'll begin driving.
I think that's a good ending point.
Oh, okay. And yeah, we'll call it there. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. It's been another scene for Living World of Darkness.